Hey.
Hey guys.
Hi.
How are you doing?
How are you guys doing?
Fine.
Oh,
Fine. Hey, everybody.
Hey, Joey.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Aka.
Hi, Calvin.
All right, guys, do us a favor, please share. And I'm doing the same right now.
We are going to do things, I guess, slightly different, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're going to actually, I guess it's, we were discussing it before. I guess this is our first episode of our podcast, too. So, what we're going to do here.
Guys, you guys are going to be part of it. Woo!
Yes.
Woo-hoo. Hey, Alan.
Hey, Alan.
How are you? Glad you can catch us tonight.
Yep. So what we're going to do here is we're basically going to get to comments when we get done reading certain parts of this, and then we'll go from there. One thing I actually do want to bring up here, and I actually forgot to bring this up in the back chat here before we did the show, is this. Where's it at?
You went the wrong direction.
I went the wrong direction. This awesome stuff that Mother De La Morte makes right here.
Oh.
Yes.
Thank you. And it is available. It is available.
What gave you that idea for this real fast? I mean, to do this stuff and everything.
Do what now?
What gave you the idea to do this? Was this a pre-commissioned piece or?
No, well, okay. So I've got a friend that lives over in the UK, and she had. It's kind of a little bit of a long story, but I'll make it short. She had commissioned a piece back about 4 years ago, and it started a series that I make called the Ninth Circus of Hell, kind of the whole take on Dante's Nine Circles of Hell, or levels or what have you. And so I just kind of went with it. You know, I've done, let's see, most of them are kind of reminiscent of the old Carnival Freak shows, but with a Dante twist. I've done two-headed little goblins. I've done a fortune teller. I've done a tightrope walker that had spikes for feet and no eyes. So it's kind of an ongoing series.
I love it.
It's great. It's absolutely great. When you were showing this to us and you were talking about it, about a month ago when you really started doing this, or you were working on it even more, and I was like, oh my god, we need to actually show this off even more. So
I'm bringing this back up for a second.
And I wanted to do a couple of things because, a lot of my pieces, I mean, I'm not going to lie, they're not cheap, and that's the reason I offer layaway with a lot of pieces. But I know that everybody, is kind of hurting right now. I mean, just the economy in general. So I tried to come up with some things that would be a little bit more economical for collectors, but would still be kind of in the line of what I do. So,
well, it's along the same logic of bands and stuff like that. Like when you go out and buy a record that's like $50-$60, or you find one that's rare, it's a couple hundred or something like that. You are paying for the rarity and stuff like that, and the materials and stuff like that, but you're also paying for the labor that you put everything into it.
Well, and that's true. I mean, I take yearly classes. It's not something like I sit on my laurels, but I'll usually take yearly classes to kind of, hone or add new things into my toolbox, ways of doing things, things like that. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, the reason I was bringing this back up was, I don't know if anybody else can tell what this is.
Oh, yeah.
So I wanted you to explain that as well, because I know exactly what it is, but I'm hoping everyone else can kind of tell what it is, since it's it's the circus thing. It's the carnival idea. It's you throw the ball, you hit the pins, you knock them down.
But instead, it's gore, and you're throwing someone's eyeball and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, you're throwing the proverbial skin ball. So, but yeah, it's a take on the old vintage what they call knockdown punks, which were usually along a backboard, and you'd basically knock them down with a baseball, and you knock so many down and you win a prize. And then I kind of went with I mean, I know I guess Rob Zombie is kind of like raw oysters. You either love him or you hate him. I like Rob Zombie. I like, for the most part, most of the films that he's made. And I kind of wanted to take a little bit. I don't know if you've noticed the swirls on that, but it reminds me of what was the most recent one with Doomhead? Was it 31?
31. Yeah, it was
31. Yeah. So you know, some of the way that I painted those numbers is reminiscent of Rob Zombie's 31. So
for those of you, like, I know we were saying we're doing the audio. Actually, we're going to be uploading the audio soon here. Check out our Facebook pages to find Pike and Mills and find what Mother De La Morte has been making and stuff like that. And you can actually see the pictures.
And they're one of our sponsors too. So
it's
not just Odd Mama. So we have some backers there. Hence the Mills.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. I was trying to see if I had it on here on our little ticker, but I don't see it right here.
No, we don't right now.
So we got a lot of people in here. I figure we can say hi to a few more people before we get started. So we saw Alan in here. Hey,
hi, Alan.
Henry, how are you doing?
Hi, Henry.
Hi, Henry.
Hey, Wiggles. How are you doing? Hey, Jeff, how are you doing?
Jeff.
Awesome.
Yay.
Angie's in here.
Nice.
Hi,
Hello,
Ann.
All right. And we have
thank you.
Tony. Hey, what's up, man?
Tony.
Woo!
I've been talking to Tony in the back and chats behind everything, and he's super cool.
Oh yeah. So again, we got the Nightmare Clowns in here. These guys are awesome. They're nonstop supportive. They're super nice. Honestly, if you guys haven't had a chance, go check them out. They have some fun shows pretty much every night. They do shows both masked, and they have taken it to another step and started unmasking, which a lot of haunters don't do.
Exactly.
And so I really like that. I like that they have gone that direction because it gives you a chance to understand that these are people.
Well, and it to me, I like when people do that because it brings like a closeness with your supporters to where they're not just, you know, followers and viewers and, you know, kind of the way we look at the people that join us when we're online.
Exactly.
They're our friends. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of them know us, you know, personally outside of what we do here. So, you know, it brings, I think, some closeness or more camaraderie, you know.
Exactly. When you hear someone's like for us.
Bye, Tony. Sorry.
Bye, Tony. For us, you know, being huge music buffs and stuff like that, when we actually finally hear our favorite bands or
talk to our favorite
guys, not singing, because when you sing you have a different voice and stuff like that, but when you actually step back, hey Crusher, when you actually step back and actually have an interview, like the first time I ever heard James Hetfield talk, he's one of my favorite, my hero. And it was amazing. It was like, oh my god, this guy's actually human. And then like connecting with him on that, it goes from there and stuff like that. Hi, Munchie.
Hey. Sorry, I'm bringing things up and waving while we're still talking.
We're doing the intro here.
Yeah. I just don't want to miss anybody, but I know that we're doing our intros and we're about to get like really into this. So,
like I said before, this is going to be our initial an episode for the audio side of this, and then that will be uploaded within the week or so, and you can replay it on the other platforms like Spotify and stuff like that.
All your podcast places.
I would also like to mention, we are going to try a little something new tonight. And so if you guys do not get a response immediately, please don't think we're ignoring you. We're going to do it in clumps. We're gonna be talking about what we have to talk about, and then we're gonna go back to some of the questions and the comments that you guys have. But before we do that, Alan just said, have you guys ever heard Undertaker talk out of character? It's crazy. I love Mark. And his name is Mark, so I love Mark.
Mark Calloway. Oh yeah, he took forever. It took his retirement. His retirement was the last year of his retirement was when they finally let people in on the backside of wrestling, when you actually could see how the Undertaker functions in real life and how he tries different things, and he actually has his own ring on his property, and he goes out there and he he'll practice for a second to see, okay, can I do this time, or do I need to take some more time off? Because by the end he's old. For a wrestler, he's pretty old. So.
Sorry guys, I've got some great. What was that you were messing around with? Some graveyard moss.
Oh, my moss
trying to grow on my nose. Okay, I'm better now.
Awesome. So,
all right, let's get into this.
We're going to get into this. And like I said, guys, please don't feel ignored. We are going to bring up your comments and we will respond.
We're going to read your comments too, because we have to read them now.
I do all the time.
Can I also say here, I did not know. I mean, like, I'm not fully versed on this particular cult and this particular man, but I've got to tell you what I do know about this cult and this man, honestly. And there's very few things that give me the heebie-jeebies. This group of people, or this man, I should say, gives me the heebie-jeebies. I mean, I have my own theory, which I'll get into later. But like I had told you earlier, he's Eli Roth material.
Yes.
Oh, he's nightmare material for sure.
He was amazing.
I'm honestly surprised Eli Roth has not made a,
maybe he has used it as inspiration.
An after school movie about the guy, like back in the 80s.
All right, let's get started here.
It's gonna get graphic.
Roch Thériault.
Roch Thériault.
What?
It's pronounced Roch.
It says Roche.
It's French Canadian.
Whatever. Okay, fine. Roch Thériault was born on May 16th, 1947, in the Saguenay Valley of Quebec, to Hyacinthe and Pierre Thériault, the second of 7 children in the working class. It's a Roman Catholic family. Roch was 6 when his family moved to the Thetford mines. The town's local school only continued to the 7th grade, at which his formal education would stop, despite the fact that he loved to learn and he was very intelligent.
He actually was so enamored with books and stuff like that. Like, he actually, when he got older, he started having issues with his intestines, or something with his intestines. I can't remember what it was.
It was ulcers, stomach ulcers.
Oh, there you go. It was stomach ulcers.
Stomach
and what he did before the surgeries, he studied medical books. And then he did the Canadian thing and backseat drove. I'm kidding.
Yeah, we're going to get into that later. But that's the thing too. A lot of the information, if for our viewers that want to go and research this more, because there's a lot we really can't get into, because it's just so terribly graphic. But that's one of the misleading things. He didn't drop out of school per se. That, like you had said, that in his area, I guess was fairly rural. That's as high as that particular school went, and then you would have to bus out to a higher grade school, which at that point they just decided, I guess, like to homeschool or something, so to speak.
It was also a different time too. They figured once you hit 7th grade, 8th grade, if you did want to go to high school or something like that, it's going to be a process to get there. But you actually just you already knew how to read. You already knew at least your 1, 2, 3s and stuff like that. And then let's just get them out in the workforce and stuff like that.
So, within this time frame, he started claiming that his parents were abusive, but Hyacinthe, his mother, vehemently denied this. But of course they do.
Well, the father he was a very strict Catholic, which we're going to get into here. He was somewhat abusive to his kids, and so that, especially Roch Thériault. So
Hyacinthe belonged to a Roman Catholic organization called the White Berets. Hyacinthe often distributed White Beret literature door to door. Roch became to loathe the White Berets in particular and the Roman Catholicism more generally. Roch married Francine Grenier on November 11th, 1967. The couple moved to Montreal, and Francine bore 2 children, sons, Roch Jr. and Francois.
I'm sorry. I'm just Roch Jr.
You're not hearing B-52's in your head right
This
now.
is my pet Roch Jr.
Rock lobster. But yeah, sorry, where you at? Sorry.
So at this point, this is when the ulcers kind of come in. So the ulcers started bothering Roch, leading him to become more frequently irritable and angry in general. Like, he was a little bit more apt to fight because of this. He was a little bit more apt to start arguing with people. The ulcers actually required surgery, one of which led to complications and a protracted recovery. So as a result of these travails, Roch became obsessively interested in anatomy and medicine. So,
well, can I say something here too? And it's just because, you know, I am 140 odd years old, and I find like human tradition and religion, just especially Catholicism, I find it extremely interesting. Just the tradition behind it. Especially in a lot of stuff that I read, this seemed to be the turning point to where he went from kind of a harmless oddball to straight out whacked. So if you wanted to go with a Catholic theory, in my eyes, this would be more of a traditional filling of devils than any type of Annalise or anything like that.
He got, with everything his father did to him, with everything like that, and then basically also what they would do when they went out with as their white berets, they would panhandle. And it was basically like, if you want me to go away, give me some change. I'll for the Lord. But it went basically to the family and to the church. He had a sense of entitlement even as a kid, which is, we all know, a sense of entitlement in a child, it breeds a sociopath later in life. And
narcissism,
it goes right into narcissism. So when he got older, one of the things he did do, he would argue with people left and right, but he was a pussy when it came to actual physical fighting and stuff like that. He wasn't. He did. We're going to get into the torture and anything like that here, but that's really where it came out, where he was actually really, really terrible.
So the family moved. So after this, the family moved back to Thetford Mines, where Roch began to develop his woodworking skills. He joined Le Club Aramis.
Le Omelette du Fromage.
Le Club Aramis, the French version of the Shriners, where he soon alienated fellow members, most of whom were, you guessed it, Roman Catholic, because he would go on anti-Catholic diatribes regularly. So it pissed them off, obviously.
Get your stinking fezzes and your go-karts out of here. That wasn't even a French.
Yeah. So Roch told Francine that he had to travel to Quebec City to sell his woodworks. He actually went there for a tryst. Giselle was one such woman, and the two became very close.
First of many.
Yep. So Roch's financial situation then started to deteriorate, and his home was repossessed, and Francine divorced him.
Yep.
So I feel like we should probably get to comments, because I've seen so many come through, and I feel bad that we haven't really been able to touch base. But I do want to let you guys know, if you go check out that pinned comment right there. Again, we are trying a new format, and we will get to them gradually. So I saw Sykes come on in here. So what's up, Sykes? How are you doing?
Hey, Hexes, Ka, and Odd Mother. Hello.
Hello.
And Henry says, I enjoy PBDC daily stories.
Nice. Thank you.
We really love giving them out.
Oh, are we talking about story time? Or is that
we are
for another time?
I mean, I can continue stories.
we have tons of stories about people.
So Alan says, when people talk about Canada, all I think about now is Letterkenny. Me too, man. Me too.
If you haven't seen the show on Mama, you need to go watch it. It's hilarious.
Every time I say Quebec, I think of Quebec, Quebec.
I fucking hate Quebec.
Quebec. Are we going to LA?
A lie.
Well, you know, this is one of the things that I had told Hexus earlier was I think one of the things that adds kind of the whole creepy factor about this is, and maybe I already said it, we were in Quebec for the summer of '86. Like,
oh shit.
Yeah. So I don't know. That kind of stuff just always kind of,
Well,
you know, something's going on when you were there.
Were you in the backwoods? Because that's where this stuff was really taking place. It wasn't exactly in Quebec. It was actually in the backwoods of Quebec and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this. If you smell what the rock lobster is boiling. Calvin says, I fart in your general direction. Oh, not bringing that up, Sykes. Sorry, but
he did. Never mind. I was going to tell
We're not going to get into it.
We can't get religious, Sykes, but that's hilarious.
But that is hilarious. Okay? That is absolutely hilarious. I would love to bring it up, but no. I don't want to get banned. People are a little bit crazy with the Van Hammer lately.
Oh, yeah, they are.
So let's get into a new Messiah. I say we're not getting into religion.
Well, we're talking about what he did and how this actually culminated into him becoming a cult leader and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And what we just read is his beginnings and his understanding of religion and actually moving on into trying
to become the new Messiah.
Yes.
Well, and two, I think I would like to make clear too, we're not singling out any particular religion as being like odd or weird or anything like that, because there's always your normal, you know, followers and believers in particular, you know, religious sects and things like that. And then you've always got the ones that become zealots. And these usually fall into the zealot category.
And this is why we talk about the cults.
And we don't ever judge the everyday practitioners, because the vast majority of people, they're just trying to live their lives.
Right.
It's the extremists. It's the ones that we actually make fun of.
I had an itch.
And stuff.
Right.
So.
All right. So impoverished and depressed, Roch sought comfort by joining the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Now, the Seventh-day Adventists, even though they're whatever, they actually do, when it comes to smoking and eating right and actually trying to take care of people, they actually are on par with that. So, that's the same. The Seventh-day Adventists are the same ones that Jim Jones joined.
So, and even the Branch Davidians are branched off of
the Seventh-day.
Where are the branch?
Okay.
I'm sorry. Every time I hear Branch Davidians, I think of Rocky Horror Picture Show and the filler. Burning in the fireplace, there's a light.
So
there's just one thing left to do.
We need to do the Rocky Horror Picture Show again live. That was
Part
fun.
2. Yeah, we do actually go back in the
Yes.
So, all right. So he relinquished meat and alcohol per the stricter structures of the Adventist group. So Roch began leading Adventist quit smoking workshops and excelled at his work.
Can I interrupt you real fast? One of the Roch Thériauts, even after, because later on he goes right back to his vices. From the stomach pain, he was drinking all the time. During while he was a Seventh-day Adventist, he got rid of all that. But one of the things he never, ever respected about any woman or any person was smoking. If you smoked, he did not like you one bit. And I was like, there goes us with weed. And sorry.
Sorry, I'm pinning where we left off so we can get back to the comments where they were.
We have your comments starred.
Yep. So, through these activities, Roch assembled a small group of people, all of them in their late teens to mid-20s, and most of them were females. Paul Kyla, Ross Laver, Wright in Savage Messiah. All of these people, plus Roch, began hanging around at Giselle's apartment. Although most of these girls were still living with their parents, the whole group would often spend the weekend crashing at Giselle's. Roch and his group attended an Adventist retreat in 1977 where he met 2 more young women who joined his group. The entire group became active in Roch's Adventist quit smoking workshops. It was at this time in 1977, at this Adventist retreat that Roch experienced his first vision. He claimed that
how they always go. I had a vision. I need followers.
Yeah, basically.
I don't
give me your money.
I don't ever want to pay bills anymore, and I need alcohol for the rest of my life.
So he claimed that while hiking alone, he suddenly saw whiteness lighting up the sky and heard God's voice saying that the area on which he stood was holy. Many years later, Roch recalled how the anti-smoking workshop led to the start of a commune. He observed, the fact that colleagues came to live and work with me led to some serious organizational problems. They had all left paid jobs to devote their time to this new work, since my courses had no set fee and participants paid what they could at the end of each session. It was impossible for me to pay my helpers. This is what prompted us to create a commune.
Can I say, I think, honestly, if you think about it, when he saw the bright light on over the cliff or whatever it was that he was standing on, because I read that too. Has anybody thought maybe it was just a mini stroke?
Maybe.
So there a mini stroke or a
mini stroke from his drinking?
A mini stroke or a 747 flying really low to the ground?
The sun was in my eyes.
Strokes out right there. I had a vision.
Should we get to comments again? Or is it too soon?
Finish this part up and we'll get to comments.
Okay. So, many years later... I went to the wrong one. Here we go. Roch and 8 live-in followers moved south of Quebec City, where they opened the Healthy Living Clinic that sold health literature and organic foods.
And became quite successful.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Actually, very successful. They were actually really good at baking and stuff like that. That's the one that they actually constantly did to make money. Their honey, their fruit, all that stuff. They found ways to do it.
Cold food usually is very good.
Oh, definitely.
I remember Sundays here in Atlanta, we'd go to the Hare Krishnas. Their food was off the chain.
Hey, the Hare Krishnas have some good food.
They do.
Just
they do.
Dance a lot in front of you while you're eating.
I've been known to jump into their dance circles while at the airport.
At the airport? Oh, that's right. They can't do that anymore, can they?
Well, back when.
Back
when
they're
like, howdy.
You can still see them on the streets wherever they're at, but I don't think they can do that in airports anymore, can they?
No, I liked it though. At the airports. I'm sorry, they were fun.
Yeah.
They're fun people. They know how to party, man.
Well, they know how to give you food.
They know how to do hit and runs too. They left the dishwasher and did a hit and run in one of their buses here.
Right.
Like they wouldn't be hard to identify. It was a bus load of Hare Krishnas.
All right, so at Roch's insistence, they all wore ankle-length tunics.
Oh God!
Here we go.
What is it with?
And they were different colors depending on who you were.
What is it with the undergarments and all that stuff?
No. This isn't undergarments.
It's not undergarments. I apologize.
This is not undergarments. This is a tunic. This is a dress, basically, like a man dress.
Real fast, can we actually say too? Roch Thériault was all about theatrics. He loved dressing up in the most random stuff, especially with his fake jewelry he had. He liked to dress up as a king all the time.
So he was a Liberace of cult leaders.
Yes, he was a Liberace. Just was not, into dudes.
Give me a second here. I was asked what a tunic is, so I am going to show you guys what a tunic is.
Oh.
But all I'm finding are women's ones.
You're finding modern tunics, and this is not tunics.
This is the same idea. This is a tunic. Save image. Tunic. There we go.
Yep.
So when we get into the comments, I'm going to bring that up. They do have magic underpants. I've seen it. Some of the comments that I can't bring up, I will comment back to, but so the cult phenomenon, how groups function. A publication of the Canadian government states that the group adopted what they believe to be a pure existence, sheltered from temptation and sin. Savage Messiah continues, several of the clinic's patrons volunteered time or financial donations. One sold his possessions to help fund the clinic. Together with his wife and child, that benefactor moved to Roch's commune. Soon, 4 others were living there, with the exception of one woman who was only in the group because of her husband's insistence that they live there. All of the adult females competed for Roch's attention.
There was also another reason why they competed for his attention.
How did this happen?
Well, that. Okay, so what you couldn't see.
Yes, I don't know, but you always see these pictures of a lot of these cult leaders, and you're like, I'm just not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it.
Roch Thériault and Jim Jones had something in common. They're extremely well endowed. With the exception of Jim Jones was bisexual, Roch Thériault was not. Mm-hmm. When we get into the abuse here, Roch Thériault, one of the things with the abuse is they felt, he got it into their heads that they felt if the more abuse they took, the more they'll make it to heaven, I guess, or the more they'll have in heaven and stuff like that. So they were fine with a lot of this stuff. And his logic
almost like a Puritan attitude, almost.
Yeah, flogging themselves. Everything from flogging to we're going to get into a couple instances of the surgeries that he would perform. They were happy to do it. And go right along with it. One of the ladies that he severely abused, it took her a few times of going back, then going to a women's shelter, then going back, and then going to a women's shelter, and then going back, and then finally.
Well, she finally lost something, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, we'll get into it. Yeah, after she lost something, that's even then she was slightly wanting to go back.
So I guess let's get to some of the comments. So Angie says, your mother was a hamster and your father smelled of elderberries. Now go away so I can taunt you a second time.
I shall taunt you a second time.
Jennifer says, I'm back!
Yay!
What's up? Sykes says, I bet that was the only meat he got to handle.
No, he
handled a lot of meat, but we'll talk about that later.
It was actually a pretty messed up way how they did things too, but
yeah.
Alan says, my dad used to work with a Seventh-day Adventist dude that was always telling people that they were going to hell for stuff so they changed all his passwords and locker combinations to 666.
That reminds me on a little side note here. I used to work at a pizza place, and one of my bosses, I've always been this way. I've always been a demon. One of my bosses at the time, our employee numbers, not our PIN number, it was part of what we use to log into things. He changed my employee number to 666, and he was giggling about it, and I was like, I don't see the problem here, buddy.
And there was much celebration. Woo!
Yeah, there was much celebration. And I showed him my tattoos and all this stuff. I was like, why would I be offended by this? I was like, this is actually pretty cool. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, shiny. I had an itch.
Uh-oh.
So,
I hate those deep down bone itches. They're hard to get to.
Oh,
right?
Especially right under your skin here. You're like,
So Syke says, I don't think that it was God. Or that was in this place. I think that the place looked like God while on peyote.
Well,
that's possible.
I'm still claiming mini stroke. I think he had a mini stroke.
Alan says it was aliens.
I'm not saying it was aliens,
but it was aliens. So Alan Someone says, I want to jump in a dance circle and yell, let's open this pit up. All right. Sykes says, what the hell is a tunic? So for those of you that are listening and not able to watch this, I'm sorry, but we are going to pull up a picture of a tunic. For those of you that are just listening, go ahead and Google tunic. So here we go. Apparently.
Yeah, everything is in downloads.
What?
Yeah, go to downloads. There you go. No, I don't know where it's at.
Apparently we're not going to show you what a tunic is. Custom files.
Look, okay, well, if you think of a knight and his squire, they wear tunics.
Got it.
Yeah.
That is a tunic.
Roughly, yeah. That's a modern
Fancy.
tunic. Yeah.
That's a fancy tunic, but that's a tunic.
It's basically a long dress.
Yes. A lot of them have slits on the sides.
Kind of like the Egyptian tunics, where they'd wear the little red fezzes. Yes.
Yeah.
The tunic, I think what they're talking about here with Roch Thériault, it actually went down to the waist and slightly below that, and it wasn't going down as far as that.
So they were doing Beatles, Sgt. Pepper Beatle tunic.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yes, there it is.
There you go. Bam.
Like says,
Sgt.
why
Pepper.
am I imagining those mean videos of people in church dancing and praising the Lord while Slayer's playing?
Those are the best.
Angel of Death.
Oh, thank you, Jeff. Jeff shared everything out.
Jeff shared everything out. Thank you so much. You know what? Unicorns kick ass. Joey.
Especially goat battle helmets that look like unicorns.
Right?
Sykes, I will wear that with cute, sexy underwear.
Magic underwear.
Magic underpants.
Right.
So, all right, let's get back into this. We're going to get into the Anthill Kids. Woo!
This is actually, it just kind of describes what they are.
Can you see his last name again?
Roch Thériault. The T at the end is silent.
Whatever. Roch Thériault.
Whatever happened to Pet Rock?
That guy made $1 million and went into hiding because people wanted their money back, I think.
I don't know what you were expecting from a Pet Rock.
He really did make. He's
I'm talking about Rock Jr. Pet Rock.
Oh,
right?
Pet Rock.
Sorry.
Rock Jr.
I was like, legitimately, I think he went into hiding because people were like, why did I pay money for a rock I could have just picked up off the ground?
With Google eyes.
So here we go. In the mid-70s, Roch Thériault convinced a group of people to leave their jobs and homes and join him in a religious movement. Thériault formed a cult in 1977 in Sainte-Marie, Quebec, with the goal to form a commune where people could freely listen to his motivational speeches.
This is when you know things are not going to end well. At this point.
Yes, especially if you're a motivational speaker and you're like, how do I make people listen? I'll make a cult.
And then I will make sure they can't get anywhere else because it was pretty far out there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So he wanted them to live in unity, equality, and be free of sin, which gets pretty funny once you hear the rest of this.
Oh, God.
Full of devils. I'm telling you, the man was full of devils.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
so he prohibited the group from remaining in contact with their families and with the Seventh-day Adventist Church, as this was against his cult values of freedom.
Well, of course, if you want to control people, you have to isolate them. That's how you control them. Mm-hmm. When people can freely go out and talk to other people are going to say, you are stuck in this, you need to get out. So,
and this is what we mentioned.
It helps with making people listen to your motivational speeches too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, here we go. Where am I? Bleep, bleep, bleep. He claimed, so he feared that the end of the world was growing closer. He claimed that God had warned him that it would come. Now listen to this, guys.
Never put an end date on your cult, guys. Look, if you're going to start a cult, don't ever have the end date. Have the end date hundreds of years later, not 5 years later.
Like the Aztecs had it. The Aztecs understood this. We
Yeah,
will
they were gonna
wait
be around in 2012.
a couple of thousand years before our doomsday happens.
So here we go. He claimed that God had warned him that the end of the world was going to be February of 1979. And he used the commune to prepare for it. And in 1978, in preparation, he moved his commune by hiking to a mountainside that he called Eternal Mountain.
Yep.
Even more secluded.
In Saint Jacques. In the sparsely populated Gaspé Peninsula, where he claimed that they could all be saved. There, Roch made the commune build their own town while he relaxed.
Well,
and compared them all to ants working in an anthill.
Well, they said they were busy as ants in an anthill, and this is one part of the notes I should have fixed here. He didn't exactly make them work. He was actually pretty much what is it? He was basically like a savant. Am I saying that right? When it came to like carpentry and stuff like that, and actually building stuff, he actually knew what he was doing when it came to.
My nose itches.
When he was sober, he was very functioning. He built this commune, and it wasn't like it was, dirt floors and like that. He built they built buildings and stuff like that, plumbing, indoor plumbing, everything. They had it all.
But he also, if I understand correctly, he also was cutting rations. Like if you complained,
yes,
your rations would be cut, but you were thankful for it. Like there was a letter that I had read from one of his followers talking about how basically he shouldn't have questioned certain things, and therefore he understood why he was not allowed to eat or eat more than he was told to eat. So basically he was all on board of being starved, because that's basically what he did, is he practically half starved some of these people.
That's another way of actually getting people to turn to your belief system, actually, because starvation, it starves the brain.
It does.
You don't think right.
I think that the case you were talking about too, like he actually, I think that guy went back for seconds. And
something, and I mean, basically, you think about the what were they, the flagellants, the ones that would
whip
themselves
in the Dark Ages and stuff like that, or during the plague.
Yeah. I mean, like there was that much of like an emotional tie to Roch, as far as they would do anything for this man, to the point of dying for him for stupid reasons.
It was pretty just intense, and like again, like we brought up earlier, like how they really believed that the more punishment they took from this man, the more they were going to go to heaven.
Yeah.
So I lost my spot. Give me a second.
Sorry.
In turn, this is how they gained the name the Anthill Kids, by the way. And in February of 79, when the apocalypse did not occur, people started to question Roch's wisdom.
Again.
But he defended himself, saying that time on earth and in God's world were not parallel. And that therefore it was just simply a miscalculation.
It's always
to expand the community as well as keep members devoted. He married and impregnated all of the women, fathering over 20 children with 9 different female members of the group. And by the 80s, there were nearly 40 members. Followers were made.
Did he actually, though, impregnate that one lady, because there was that one lady, one of his right-hand men that was married to, that he didn't like her and she did not like him, but she stayed there for her husband through all this madness.
She did not. He did not.
She was the exception.
There was there were a couple of them that he didn't fool around with, and those were the ones that he would literally just say, "Hey, it's the middle of winter in Canada, in the middle of the woods. You get to go live out in the woods, on the edge, the outcasts and stuff like that." The kids that were not his kids when they brought him in, they when we get to the abuse and stuff like that, like they were severely abused. Like they were not even allowed to be with their regular parents. They had to go off and be with someone else.
Yeah.
His kids, one of the things with him, he liked he liked the ass. Obviously, he liked the sex part of it. And when they were doing their like orgies and stuff like this, that's what they would do, especially in front of the other men and stuff like that. And a lot of some of the men would actually participate too. He did it with the intention, and he flat out told him, he's all, we don't do this unless I get you pregnant. But then once he got him pregnant, he didn't want to take care of the kids in any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
So
in 1984, the group relocated to Quebec to a new site near Burnt River, Ontario, a hamlet in central Ontario, which is now part of the city Kawartha Lakes. So let's get to some of the comments before we get into the abuse.
Mm-hmm. And I think, not to interrupt, but I think too that move was propagated by the fact that Canadians' equivalent of Children Protective Services were called in because of the abuse of some of these children, and some of the people that had left when his prophecies did not come true.
He initially, I know we got to get the comments here real fast, but initially before the second move, which I think that's where they went to Eternal Mountain, which is outside of Quebec, he wasn't allowed. He went to jail for a few years. While he was in jail, all of his followers stayed in an apartment near him. And then once he got out of jail, that's when the abuse really happened. And he also wasn't allowed they were not allowed to take up residence in Quebec. So I think that's when they moved over to Ontario, where Eternal Mountain is.
But he even persuaded a lot of these child protective services to make them think he was not a threat. And this I do not understand.
He was able to manipulate him because he's a huge sociopath. You know, there was one lady that he could not manipulate, and actually she did end up committing suicide a few years after this because of taking on all these cases, and especially this case alone was very detrimental to her mental health. She had to see all this.
Yeah.
All right, so Sykes talking about the tunic and the sexy underwear. My date better buy me a drink first.
Right.
Calvin says, join the Huxtable cult. We give free drinks and Jello.
Jello.
Joey, I'm not sure that that's something to celebrate, but he says, born in 77. Fuck yeah. I mean, yes, celebrate your birth, but probably not celebrating the birth of the cult.
Yeah. You don't want to.
But yeah, celebrate your birth, of course.
Yeah.
And don't drink Sykes says, don't drink the punch or you will see the pink elephant permanently.
Yeah, well, his
flashes of light.
And X's on the eyes.
I think I want to say Roch Thériault's drink of choice was cognac. No joke.
Cognac?
Yep.
And Sykes is laughing, by the way.
Yep. Hey, Nadine!
Nadine! Sorry it took me so long to say hi, but we are trying a new format.
Yep. It actually seems to be working, too. We're maintaining people throughout the whole thing.
So Sykes says, you got Jello, we got cookies, and Kool-Aid.
Don't drink the flavor
Hey,
aid.
Doodles! How are
Doodles.
you? All right. Again, guys, we got the Nightmare Clowns in the house. And you know what? Should we go to a commercial?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
You know,
Let
before we
take a bathroom break.
Before we go to commercial, speaking of Nightmare Clowns, guess what we got in the mail?
That's what Dizzy sent us.
We got Oni and we got Dizzy.
Nice.
So, yeah, these are going up on our wall. I'm excited. But yeah, let's go to commercial. We will be right back. Where's the commercial? Is it this one?
New ad for Midway.
All right. We'll be back. I'll bring this up right now. Sykes got his pictures from Dizzy and Oni too.
Yay!
Heck yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Hexus is back.
I wasn't chugging a beer. I swear to God, I don't do edibles anymore during the shows because I got a little trippy one night. Oh, hi guys.
There's a reason I read comments. There's a reason I read the stuff.
Yeah. I do all the notes. I know a lot. I can't read out loud. I stutter so much when I read.
Is this going to be a two-parter?
No, I think that's pretty much it. We go to the abuse and then
the really bad stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yes.
You know, we're just going to go long tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. That works.
Well, talking about Roch Thériault, we might as well go long, huh, bros?
Hey, Doodle says if Hexus is chugging a beer, he better share.
I do have one unopened right now. I picked this up at Bevmo. What is it?
Did that say coffee?
Kentucky Coffee Barrel Aged Stout.
Oh.
I'm going to say it's from...
I like stout. I do like... I like a stout beer.
I love my stouts. I can't do IPAs anymore. And I can only drink it when I have a mouth. And
Hi, John!
Hi, John!
I haven't seen John in a while, so I was like, hi!
I only have a mouth when I'm not possessing Frank, so I unpossessed him for a second so I could drink, then possessed him again.
All right. You know what we did not do today? Which I guess...
Right now is the right time to do this.
Better late than never.
The warning?
Oh, yes. This is the time to do this.
First off, trigger warning! Explicit content.
This is going to get graphic here, guys. This is like...
going to get very, very graphic right now.
This is going to get Eli Roth graphic.
So the related content may be disturbing to some individuals. Viewer discretion and listener discretion is advised.
Actually, can we say this is going to get the Cell graphic with Jennifer Lopez from the one part? Yeah. If you've seen the Cell, there's a part in there that's really, really brutal.
Yeah.
And let's see.
Yes.
Should I do the fair use thing? Because I think we got some stuff off of a website, biography and stuff.
Yeah.
So under the fair use, another author may make limited use of the original author's work without asking permission. Pursuant to 17 U.S. Code 107, certain uses of copyrighted material for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, including multiple copies for classroom use, scholarship, or research is not an infringement of copyright. And boom! I feel like I should do this one more time.
Don't do the super hot.
Trigger warning.
We can't do the super
Also, I guess a seizure warning, but...
Well.
Mini stroke warning.
Mini stroke warning. Howdy. All right.
Hi, John.
All right. Let's get into
this. So, the abuse.
Now, a precursor to this, part of the abuse was the orgies that he would have. And I don't know if it's going to go into this here with the notes that I picked, but one of the things he would do, again, he was really well endowed and he loved to show it off. More so than a porno wallop. He would pull the girls aside and practically have a lot of the women fight over him. And stuff like that. He would actually turn around and they would also have these orgies and stuff like that in front of the children, which was terrible. Absolutely terrible.
So, all right, let's get into this. So, as Roch's drinking problem became a lot worse, he began to move away from the motivational speaker aspect and he moved away from being a motivational leader and became increasingly a totalitarian leader.
Statistic.
Yep.
Stats, man. Once you go to jail once, or you like Jim Jones did, and you move to Brazil for a while, like Jim Jones did, you got to come back and you got to lay down the law.
you gotta screw motivation. Let's just get into sadism.
You will listen now. I am
this
done.
This will motivate you, damn
it. So he became a totalitarian leader, and this was over the lives of his followers, and the irrational beliefs that he was gaining. Members were not allowed to speak to each other when he was not present, nor were they allowed to have sex with each other without his permission.
Yes.
He dissolved all marriages and then married all of them.
Yeah,
except for that one girl.
He was also, this is where he does differ from other cults, where he actually, again, there's more stuff in common with Jim Jones, where it was just, it came down to permission, whereas other cults like the, I can't think of them, but they don't allow anybody else to have sex with them besides the cult leader. You know, was slightly different in that aspect of it.
Well, and this man didn't actually, I mean, if he spiraled, it wasn't a fast spiral. It was a long, freaking drawn out spiral.
Yes. This is by the way, again, this is like Mother De La Morte just said right now. This is a span of years. And the abuse at this time,
this is about 10 years at this point.
This abuse right here took place over a span of like 6 or 7 years, and it was brutal every single day of it.
So Roch would use his charisma to cover for his increasingly abusive and erratic behavior. And none of the other members questioned his judgment or openly blamed him for any physical, mental, or emotional damage. Roch began to inflict punishments on followers that he considered to be straying by spying on them and claiming that God told him what they did. If a person wished to leave the commune, he would hit them either with a belt or a hammer. He'd suspend them from a ceiling, pluck each of their body hairs out individually, and even defecate on them. The Anthill kids raised money for living by selling baked goods, and the members who did not bring in enough money were also punished in these manners.
Again, too, these people,
and they all rejoiced.
They rejoiced every time of it. And we're going to get into something here in a second here. The girl didn't scream the entire... I know Mother De La Morte knows what we're talking about here. She didn't scream while he was doing what he did to her.
So, over time, Roch's punishments became increasingly extreme and violent, including making members break their own legs with sledgehammers, sit on lit stoves, butt naked, shoot each other in the shoulders, and even eat dead mice and feces. One of the
followers, he performed a what's it called when they cut off your he turned him into a eunuch. Castration.
And it was to cure headaches.
Yes, he literally cut out his left testicle, and the guy ended up hiding in the woods for a week with an open wound in his groin.
But now he goes, and I don't mean to like take away from what you guys are telling, but this gentleman, the one that was partially castrated, on technically and literally the dining room table, that's where he did all his Frankensteinian things. When he got to town, and he's not going to be the first one that does this, he gets to town and makes up a completely different story of what happened. He got picked or something.
And when he got, I think he did leave the cult, he had nothing but nice things to say about it.
Yeah, he never turned and told the story of what was actually going on and what happened to him.
This is like this is a constant among cults. Again, to go back to Jim Jones, people who let the people's the People's Church, not the people. What was it called again? I was going to say the People's Temple. Collective, but that's a pot shop down south. The People's Temple. They all said the same thing. It was great. It was perfect. I loved being there, but I'm not there anymore.
I'm gonna get to some comments in a second here. You know what? I have to, because it's in the right timing right now. Yeah. So Sykes says they would fight over him. What was he? The cult version of a Chippendales dancer?
Pretty much. Roch Thériault was okay. So there was a
sounds like a porn star. Roch Thériault.
He was. It's everything that you think of with
Tracy Lords and Roch Thériault in
everything from the abusive
Pet My Rock.
Pet My Rock.
Oh my God! Hey baby, you want to pet my rock? And just
want to see my pet rock?
That looks like a peach.
You want to see my pet rock?
No, he literally would. Oh, I completely forgot what I was saying. I'm sorry. Yeah, I threw a blank. Sorry.
So John says, what kind of pathetic kooks would follow a guy like that or even put up with him? Well, you may want to go back just a little bit further, like, when we're done or whatever. And basically it started out as a branch off from his religious background of being a Seventh-day Adventist. And then it just evolved into this.
And it was slow. It was slow. It wasn't fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a slow evolution into this insane thing. And people just, it's,
anybody who's been in an abusive relationship.
What's it called though when you identify with your captor? My brain just stopped.
Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what basically this happened.
Anybody who's been in an abusive relationship can kind of,
mm-hmm.
see how this goes.
This isn't even the worst. I mean, are you going to cover the circumcision on the? Yep. Okay, all right. So I'll just leave it.
It's getting there shortly, actually.
Okay, all right.
So Alan says, "What? I missed something. He shit on people? Yes,
he
did.
He did all that. This was
made him eat it.
He was not a nice guy."
John says, "I don't understand people in cults. Nobody tells me what to think or do." Absolutely, but the weird thing is, a lot of these people don't even realize they're in cults.
Well, you have to understand too, guys. None of us are in an echo chamber. We're not.
Yeah.
We all, the three of us here alone, all of us have different opinions, and we've had our political discussions, and we do. The three of us here,
we agree quite a bit.
We agree quite a bit, but there's a few times where we've had discussions in back chats, and when it comes to certain things, and Mother De La Morte,
I'll disagree with him, and
that's healthy, free speech, talking,
debate, healthy debate, independent thought.
That's what keeps you aware, sane, and away from stuff like this. But these people come in there. Yeah. He saw that these people were victims. He victimized the victims. He knew what he was doing, and he pulled them away from their families and friends. And the minute they did that, they're isolated in the woods.
Sykes says, "Roch Ontario." Sorry, Sykes. It's Roch Thériault, but I like this one. Roch Ontario and Cliffhanger 2. Can it hang?
And families tried to get like some of these younger, like their children out of there, and he even charmed the police.
When he got arrested,
it was just like mind-boggling.
He almost got away with everything the second time he got arrested before he got put in jail for a long time. Simply because he was charming as fuck. He's more charming than Edmund Kemper, and Edmund Kemper is the king of charming, the king of pulling you in, and this guy was beyond that.
So, a follower would sometimes be asked to cut off another follower's toe with wire cutters just to prove loyalty. The abuse extended to the cult's children, who were sexually abused, held over fires, or nailed to trees while other children threw stones at them. One of Thériault's wives left a newborn child, Eleazar Levely, outside to die in freezing temperatures to keep him away from the abuse.
Thériault, that's bad. When you're willing to do that to keep your baby away from such abuse, and the cutting off the toes, that started because I believe it was the lady that him and her did not get along, the one that was married to one of his right-hand men. She was going to leave, and he had her own husband cut off one of her toes so she could not run away. And that's kind of how that got started. It
also took him, I think it took him almost a whole night to do it. And it finally got to a point where Roch Thériault came to the guy and basically said, "Look, if you don't do this, I'm going to do this. And if I do this, it's going to be 1,000,000 times worse."
Well, so Roch attempted to backtrack to the original religious mission of the commune, beginning to strongly believe in purifying his followers and ridding them of their sins through abusive purification sessions where the members would be completely nude as he whipped and beat them. Roch claimed to be a holy being and started performing unnecessary amateur surgical operations on sick members to demonstrate his healing powers. These surgeries included injecting 94% ethanol solution into stomachs,
Yes.
or performing circumcisions on the children
Brutal.
and adults of the group. And in 1987,
Which one baby died. One baby
Yep.
died. It was found dead the next morning after he had performed a circumcision on it. Because I think he also used the ethanol on that baby.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then in 1987, social workers removed 17 of the children from the commune. However, Roch faced no repercussions for his abusive acts because he was so charming.
Another thing too, when they removed the 7, actually, it was he had children left and right, and they throughout the time, a lot of the followers did get the children out, but they stayed. This time, they pulled out all the children, and he acted like, "Oh my God, my children! Oh, they're all gone," but he wanted them gone.
Yeah,
he literally wanted us to keep having sex and raping and stuff like that, and not have the repercussion of having children there.
So in 1989, when follower Solange Boillard complained about an upset stomach, Roch performed another amateur surgery without anesthesia.
This is what we're going to get into.
He laid her naked on a table, punched her
the dining
in the
room table.
Yep, the dining room table, punched her in the stomach, and then forced a plastic tube into her rectum to perform a crude enema with molasses and olive oil. He then cut open her abdomen with a knife and ripped off part of her intestine with his bare hands.
Yeah,
Roch made another member, Gabriel Lavallee, who, by the way, you recognize that name from the child that was left in the forest to die. He had Gabriel, or excuse me, I think it's Gabrielle. So this was the mother of that child. He had her stitch her together using a needle and thread, and had the other women shove a tube down her throat and blow through it. Boillard died, obviously, the next day from the damage inflicted by the procedures. Claiming to have the power of resurrection, Roch bored a hole into her skull with a drill and then had other male members, along with himself, ejaculate.
Now, they buried her first, I believe. They buried her first.
He dug her up, actually.
Then dug her up after he had a vision of bringing her back to life, and only his seed or something like that could bring her back to life. But go ahead.
And so basically when they dug her up, they drilled the hole into her skull and jacked off into the cavity that they drilled the hole into. And when Boillard did not return to life, her corpse was buried a short distance from the Anthill Kids commune. Now,
Boillard is also the reason why he got arrested, or one of the reasons why, because after he dug her up so many times that even the commune came and said, they basically said, you got to stop. We're not doing this anymore. When he had actually everyone in the commune saying, we're not digging her up anymore. He dug her up one more time and took her piece of her rib and wore it as a necklace. And there's pictures of him. You can actually see him wearing the rib. And his excuse was, it's just an animal's rib. But when they actually arrested him originally, they pulled that. They were able to find the remains and match everything up to her.
So let's get to
and there was also the girl that he was able to talk into coming back several times, but we haven't covered her yet, right?
No. That's the one who loses her.
Yeah.
So, Syke says, I can see him now, naked and doing the helicopter.
Oh, real fast before we get to more comments. The one I do remember I was going to say. So, you look at, there's a movie that came out of Roch about the Anthill Kids in the 90s. I forgot something Messiah. It's actually
Messiah?
Savage Messiah. Yeah, they actually did make a movie of it. It's actually a pretty good movie. It is a Canadian movie. The guy they got to play him was actually named Jean-Luc, or something, not Jean-Luc, but Picard. Maybe it is Jean-Luc Picard, and he's actually short. He's not a very tall guy. Roch Thériault is, I want to say I'm 6'1", and like Roch Thériault is bigger than me. He was the rugged mountain man type too that a lot of women see. He was balding, but he, long hair. If you can see
solar-powered sex machine.
Well, if you can see the red right here, the face right there above Mother De La Morte, that's what he was. It's just a beard and this big burly man.
He had a skullet.
Yeah, and he wore it right there. He wore it and did it, and a lot of women were very, very attracted to him. They like that rugged type,
So Richard says, "Evening. Names I'm having trouble pronouncing."
Hi, Richard.
Hey, what's up? So Alan says, first time the doo-doo punishments happen, I'd be out. Wouldn't even take the physical abuse, just, the doo-doo.
No doo-doo pie.
No doo-doo.
No doo-doo pie.
So this was in response to something Hexa said earlier about how to pull them out of there. John says they used to have deprogrammers. Psychologists would snatch people back and try to straighten them out.
They did, and a lot of problems with the cults in the 70s and 80s. The deprogrammers are almost as bad as the cult leaders.
Yeah.
They were just as bad. To deprogram someone properly from these cults, it's years and years of therapy. You can't just pull them out and be like, we're going to beat you until you don't want to be a part of the cult. I was like,
that's snap out of it. Yeah,
that's how they were in the cult. John, they did have deprogrammers.
So,
that.
Richard says, damn, just give her some Pepto-Bismol. And again, Richard says, what in the Frankenstein reject shit did I just join in on?
No, but talking about going back to her, the woman that he pulled the intestines out on, again, she did not scream once. And there was no anesthetics, nothing. He went
and
right
she didn't die right away. I mean, it took her about 12 to 24 hours to die because it was basically her intestinal fluids leaked out into her cavity or abdomen cavity, which is basically septicism.
So we're going to get actually a little bit more into this, the intestines, the woman, they ripped the intestines out and everything.
I'm responding. I'm sorry. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the ripped out intestines. So shockingly, Roch avoided prosecution on this for 2 years.
Yeah.
And in 1989, this is talking about, again, when she was suffering from some stomach issues in 89, he believed that he could cure her illness and laid her on a table, punched her in the stomach, rammed a tube into her butt, and poured olive oil and molasses into it. And she was screaming in agony, and he did not sedate her. Okay?
She was, this
was completely awake.
She was screaming in agony after the fact, but while he was doing this, she was not screaming.
No, when he started slamming stuff in, like punching her in the stomach, ramming tubes in her butt, and then sliced her stomach open and started ripping out pieces of her intestines, she was screaming in agony. What? And again, she died. So basically, he did this with his hands, and she died the following day. This was not a short death. This was painful, drawn out, bloody. Yeah. Very bloody. Yes, something like Cannibal Corpse. But it was the warped abuse of another follower that finally brought Roch to justice. Gabrielle, who was the woman that we mentioned earlier that put her child out in the woods to save the baby from abuse, had her private parts burnt, 8 of her teeth knocked out, part of her breast hacked away, and she escaped the commune. And despite
her arm cut from here to here, he had started cutting her arm. What almost like to flay it.
What he did when she was so the girl that had her intestines cut out, what happened basically was she was like, she was wanting to leave too. She turned around and was like trying to leave, and he's like, oh, I see you have a stomach problem. And that's when he pulled her aside and then did everything to her. Gabrielle wanted to leave too, and she was being beaten left and right. Stuff happening to her, everything we have read right here from her breast and stuff like that. She left a couple times, went to a women's shelter, came back, and then one of the nights he was drinking, and it was like almost like he snapped into his abusive personality. She had her hand on a table. He shoved a knife right through it and planted her there, made her stay there. Well, it was only about an hour or so, and he went off on his little, because he would also go off on rants and make people listen to him. When he got done, he goes, "Oh, I see your arm is dead," and they started cutting piece of it off to get it out of there to save her. Well, then a few days later, they're like, "Oh, it looks like your arm needs to be removed a little bit more." They started hacking pieces off right up here by the shoulder to where there was just this part of the arm below, the shoulder, and a piece of bone just exposed all the way around.
I mean, it sounds like something you'd see in like a movie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it doesn't even seem like something based in reality, and that people would just go along with it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So despite making it to safety originally, she actually felt like she couldn't live without the control of the cult leader. So she went back. And that when she returned as a punishment, that's when she was held down and had her arm hacked off. And so she actually escaped a third and final time. And this is the point when the police finally caught up with him. And he was actually put in jail for chopping her arm off and sentenced to only 12 years.
Because she wouldn't tell the truth at first, would she?
Well, even after the fact, she actually told people, she's all, I still care about him. I just can't go back.
I should probably put a trigger warning up one more time here, because I'm about to get into a little bit more detail of some of the things that happened to her. When I said that her genitals were burnt, it was a little bit more than that. So definitely trigger warning here.
The prolapse. Yeah.
So this is going into the arrest and the conviction. So Gabrielle underwent a lot of harsh treatment at the Ontario Commune during the late 80s. They took a welding torch to her genitals. So when I say it was burnt, it wasn't like, oh, ouch, oops. No, this is a welding torch to her genitals. Crispy critter. A hypodermic needle that was broken off in her back. And 8 of her teeth were forcibly removed. So she had actually attempted to escape from the commune after they had cut off part of her breast and smashed her head in with the blunt side of an axe. But she decided to come back. And after this, they removed part of her finger with a wire cutter and then pinned her down to the wooden table with the hunting knife through the hand, like Hexus was just saying, and then used a cleaver to amputate her arm gradually. And in 1989, Roch was arrested for assault after Gabrielle's third attempt at leaving.
She literally
and I don't get this, assault, not attempted murder.
Nope.
Exactly. Yeah. This was the weird. I know we've gone into this before with like the Canadian police with Willie Picton. They just don't get involved until everything is like really bad.
We're the police. We don't get involved.
Whoa. Hey, guys, that's not our problems, guys. Look, let's just have a talk here.
Job.
So the provincial authorities had long held suspicions about the cult due to particularly primitive living conditions from the members. But because the commune was officially registered as a church, officials were legally unable to investigate the adults and could not do much except for ensure the welfare of the children. So Roch was found guilty of assault for the amputation and received a sentence of 12 years of imprisonment. The vast majority of the cult's followers abandoned Roch after this arrest. But during his imprisonment, he fathered another 4 children with the remaining female members during conjugal visits.
Well, the 12 years that he initially got, he almost got out of that simply by talking to the police. I know we brought it up earlier. He was charming. Yeah. And then they actually, I want to say they tacked on more time because someone actually got smart and was like, no.
I think some of the children actually got to an age to where they could start telling people what was. It was actually, I think, the children that wound up getting him the life sentence.
Yeah.
Well, so Gabrielle's report allowed further investigation into the actions, exposing the wider abuses at the commune, and talking about Solang's murder. And in 1993, Roch pled guilty to second-degree murder for the death of Solang. And he was sentenced to life imprisonment. And in 2000, he was transferred to Dorchester Penitentiary, which is a medium security prison in Dorchester, New Brunswick. In 2002, he was rejected for parole as he was considered too high of a risk and he would definitely reoffend. So he never applied again.
Can we say one thing real fast?
Yeah.
New Brunswick stew is actually pretty tasty.
That was definitely a squirrel moment.
Sorry.
So in 2009, Roch tried to sell his artwork in the United States in the United States based on a website that was based here called murderauction.com, which called itself a true crime auction house and was willing to sell some of his drawings and poetry.
They've since gone under too. That's no longer.
Oh, yeah, no, they don't exist anymore because of this, actually. The Correctional Service of Canada prevented this from happening, and he wasn't allowed to sell any of these from the penitentiary. The Canadian Federal Public Safety Minister at the time wrote the Correctional Service to express concern that the killer was benefiting from his work in prison.
Mm-hmm.
And before we go into this very last short thing, let's touch base on a couple comments here.
Yep.
Richard says, this is basically just a long Cannibal Corpse song.
I don't know. Cannibal Corpse serious. This guy was serious.
You're creeping me out. I gotta go lock my doors, says John. Richard says, this kind of makes me think of the movie The Girl Next Door. That movie was based on a true story, but the true story is worse than the movie.
No, yeah, the Girl Next Door was written by it was written by Dean Koontz, but yeah, the story itself is another one I actually do want to cover. It's brutal.
Richard says, some people need to headbutt a bullet at point blank range.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll get into that here in a second.
Alan said, some people need to take Roch to the end of the laneway.
John says 12 years. That's all disgusting. No, he actually did get.
He got life.
He got life. He did eventually get life.
Mm-hmm.
My head tried to fall off.
And I think I think he does get taken to the laneway, doesn't he?
He does. He gets a little snicky right in the necky.
John says, how'd you like to be that guy's cellmate?
They didn't like him. They killed him.
Well, we're getting there. All right, so here we go. The death of the aftermath. On February 26, 2011, at the age of 63, Roch was found dead near his cell at Dorchester Penitentiary. His death is believed to be the result of an altercation with his cellmate, Matthew Gerard. Matthew Gerard.
Yay, Matthew.
Matthew is a good person.
60-year-old convicted murderer from Port Alport, Newfoundland and Labrador, who was charged with the killing. MacDonald pled guilty to second-degree murder and was sentenced to life in prison, having already been serving a life sentence for the previous murder charge. So MacDonald
what are they going to do to me? Give me more life sentences.
MacDonald stabbed Roch in the neck with a shiv, walked to the guard station, handed them the weapon, and proclaimed, that piece of shit is down on the range. Here's the knife. I've sliced them up.
Yeah, we're all.
Yay!
He literally walked up to him and just stabbed him right in the neck. So he's all, now you're done, buddy. Get out of my face.
Piece of shit's dead now.
Right? Way to go, Matthew!
The movie didn't come out in the early 90s. It came out in the early 2000s.
Yes, it was early 2000.
And the guy's name was Luc Picard.
Yep. So, 2002
Captain
film.
Picard's son.
Yes.
Savage Messiah depicts the crimes against his followers and the ensuing legal recourse. The film stars Luc Picard as Roch and Polly Walker as Paula Jackson, the social worker whose investigation revealed the crimes. Gabrielle wrote a memoir of her life in the sect called Alliance of the Sheep, which I'm not reading in French. I'm sorry.
Paula Jackson was the one who, she was the real hero of this, and that she, well, aside from Matthew stabbed in the neck, but Paula Jackson was the one who was
Stabby Matthew.
She did not fall for his shit one bit, and she was on him as much as possible. And from the horrors that she saw here, she did end up taking her own life. She's no longer. It was a few years later.
It was bad. It was bad. Like there's a lot more in depth with some of the things that happen that we really can't get into. So
yeah. When we really do the full audio stuff, we can get graphic as much as we can. It's just with Facebook and all this other stuff.
So let's touch base on the last of the comments, guys.
Start with the last one first, please. He deserves it. Stab
Richard, stab you.
Yay!
Stab you. All right. So Hollow Point heart bypass.
Yes.
Yep. Psych says he be like, give me some chum chum.
Oh, no, this guy was like, I don't even want that. I'm just gonna murder you right now, and that's what he did.
Way to go, Matthew! Woo! Alex says that is awesome. Yeah. Hey, Jackal! Sorry that it's the end of the feed, but hey!
Well, real fast, I know this is the end of the feed. We don't condone violence here, but this guy, I'm sorry, he deserved it. He absolutely deserved to die.
Oh yeah, I
Again,
completely
you.
support stab you or staff
Yeah,
you. Stab you.
The minute they said child abuse, it was like, no, you deserve this, buddy.
Yep.
All right, so this has been a fantastic feed.
Yeah,
and
it
for those
has.
coming in late, we will be uploading this to our podcast.
Yeah, we have to do a couple more episodes, and then you'll be able to start hearing us on Google or not Google. Yeah, Google and
Google and Spotify
iHeartRadio,
and Stitcher and
Stitcher,
Apple, I believe.
Apple. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I have it set up to go to 8 different locations, and if I can remember all 8, I'll let you guys know.
It just takes we have to record a couple episodes, and then once you get like 3 or 4 of them down and uploaded, that's when they are available for everyone to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Star!
Hey, Star! Hey!
Hey!
Too bad we're at the end. I'm sorry, Star.
So again, guys, thank you for joining us tonight, and thank you, Mother De La Morte, for doing this with us.
Yay!
I had a good time. I had a really, really good time.
Yep.
Same. I can't wait for us to keep this going.
Yep.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you guys all for joining us tonight. And have a wonderful night.
See you later.
Bye.
Pleasant nightmares.
The world would not be the same. Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." I suppose we all thought that one way or another.